certainly is the number one issue when they call my radio show, when I talk to people on the street, is the economy and jobs. Obviously, what the stimulus package is obviously not working, and they've only spent half of it. Well, what are they waiting for the other half? So I want to start off with questions about the economy. We'll just go on the same line we had started with before. How do you guys see, how do each of you see the role of the federal government in the economy? And contrast that towards, quickly if you can, towards the way that President Obama and the Democrat Congress is using their power to insert federal control in the economy. Tim?
Well, I think it's very easy to say it's a complete difference between true free enterprise capitalism versus European socialism. It's the difference between government running the economy, government deciding who will be winners and losers, who will be the leaders, and who will be the followers. The only way to turn this economy around is the way it's always been done. It's by reducing the overall scope, size, cost of government. That impacts upon the opportunity for individuals to take risks, and yes, not only to take risks to succeed, but also take risks that they might fail in. That's the American way. But then, nothing as far as a hurdle in their way for the government to get up and move on again. So we have to cut spending. We have to cut spending. Did I say we had to cut spending? I thought you went to sleep. Hey, leave that going. That's where you guys come in.
So do you see the federal government's, so again, how do you see the role of the federal government?
The role of the federal government is to cut spending, cut taxes, reduce unnecessary regulation. And that's across the board. We've been doing the exact opposite, Frank. They've been taking over manufacturing, imposing and setting up their own leadership, doing away with what happens at times when you fail by saying you're too big to fail. Who says? But they're making those provisions. And then they're regulating further. It's not working, never has. We go back to President Kennedy, President Reagan, President Clinton when he was put on the spot by the Republicans, and then President Bush. When they cut tax, what happened? The economy grew. When they cut spending, it grew even more. So that's what we have to do. We can't allow government to take over our health care, our energy, our financial institutions, our manufacturing. Oh, wait a second, they have already. We've got to stop that trend.
All right, thanks, Tim. Brian, how do you see the role of the federal government and how it applies its power to the economy?
It is a fundamental difference in the worldview between a lot of Democrats and Republicans. Democrats always see the problem as a revenue problem. We have programs that we need to fund, we just need to find the revenue. Republicans see the problem as a growth problem. We have programs or we have other things that need to be funded or want to be funded. How do you get the money? Is it better to grow out of the problems that we have like we've done in the past, or do you try to get blood out of the stone? I go to so many businessmen and women across this district that have survived partly the Great Recession that we've been in. And they are sitting on some money, but they're afraid to spend it because they don't know what the future holds for them. Part of the federal government's job is to allow businessmen and women to know what the future is. Right now you have so much uncertainty, and uncertainty kills business because you have cap and trade moving out there. You have Bush tax cuts ready to expire. So you have businessmen and women saying, I'm not ready to spend my money, I'm not going to hire permanent workers. And you have the government, whether it's in Lansing or DC, looking at somebody and saying, how can I get more money out of you? I know you have it, how do I get it? Instead of saying, how do I put more money in your pocket so you can hire more people and they can pay taxes as well. Instead, we're handing out unemployment checks. When you go door to door and you talk to people that don't have a job, they say they'd rather have the dignity of a paycheck than an unemployment check. Or if they do have a job, they're afraid that they're going to lose the job. Or I talk to so many grandparents that say, you know what, I wish my kids or grandkids lived in the state, but now they're in Florida, Texas, Ohio, Indiana, because that's where they can get work, and I'm all alone here. So it's a worldview that is fundamentally different, where DC has to be reduced in size and scope, not just in taxation, but rightfully so with spending as well. And so we need to also pull back the reins on a lot of these federal regulatory agencies that are completely out of control, like the EPA, and downsides have devolved a lot of the departments, like the Department of Transportation, that takes our gas money, federal tax dollars, and takes every dollar, gas money you spend down to DC, and they send us 93 cents back. And then they cut up the pot down there, and they say 40% goes to roads, 60% go to greenways. That's like bike trails and hiking paths and those sorts of things. And we need to get people down to DC that understand what you folks on the ground are all facing right now, rather than, there's no problem, the government can solve mentality like Mark Schauer is.
All right, thanks.